Welcome, Raptors Nation, to a film session here on the Basketball Zone YouTube channel. I'm your boy Leo Bees, and I got my brother with me, Robert, to break it all down. And we're not gonna waste your time. We want you guys to watch this and get hyped for the game, right? Whenever you watch, if it's at your lunch break or whenever it is, if you're too hyped and you can't sleep, it's gonna be a hell of a game. Game 6 must win. So let's get to it. So on this first play, we pretty much see Scottie starting off on Harden, and yes, he gets beat off the dribble. One, because there is a potential ghost screen coming here from Tyrese Maxey, and we see VanVleet calling that out. So normally that's pretty normal for a star like Harden to get by him initially, but the importance here is to notice that Scottie Barnes is really good with his recovery, and he got his hand right out of the cookie jar right on time. So the ref, right? So the refs won't call it because as you can see, this guy here, he has the best angle of it, and he saw that, there was no foul. So Harden, obviously knowing that there's a 6'9", 7'4" wingspan guy guarding him, he tries to, use his trickery, and it didn't work here. So great defense.
So first I want to explain why is Scottie pressuring James Harden this far away from the basket, right? So James Harden is a very good passer. And I think that this is an important thing for fans to realize is that when you have a generational passer like James Harden, you need to apply ball pressure the minute they cross the half court line. You need to pick up early so that they can't see the openings and they can't start to facilitate. The second thing I'll say is that this sort of ghost screen that you're talking about,
Mhm.
very easily, if this is a different defender than Fred VanVleet, I think this is a switch.
Yes,
It's
correct.
very easily a switch, and that way, like right now, if Fred VanVleet is a different player, let's say instead of Fred VanVleet, that's Precious Achiuwa out there.
Hmm.
Immediately, Precious would cut off James Harden, and Scottie would have enough time to rotate back to Tyrese Maxey, and that entire advantage that James created with that first step is gone. But
Yeah,
because
because
of Fred VanVleet,
because Fred is literally out of position here.
yes, he is. Because he should be doing something. He's doing nothing at this point, right? So
Yeah.
this entire breakdown, so a lot of people would say, hey, this is evidence that Scottie Barnes is not a good perimeter defender. The second thing you said was the contest, right?
Mhm.
Matisse Thybulle is a really good defender for the fact that he is great at trailing a play from the back and then creating a block. Scottie
Right.
doesn't block this shot, but he guaranteed creates the miss here, right? Because OG is in a precarious situation because if OG comes out too early, that's an open dunk for Embiid. So OG
Mhm.
has to stay home on Embiid. The second part here is that if Scottie tries to block the shot, most likely what's going to happen with a guy like James Harden is you're going to pick up a foul. So Scottie plays this perfectly.
Okay, so here we see Thaddeus Young once again on a switch, most more than likely, and length really bothers James Harden. His excellent job to stay in front of him, and a great job by Fred VanVleet to slide into position to get that block. And that's Raptors defense in a nutshell. That's good defense there. And unfortunately, they had a lot of miscues where it did not look like this.
Right. But, this is exactly what a defense should do. It should be funneling a player into help every time, right? So kudos to Fred VanVleet for stepping up there. Give him his props there. Why this
And
works.
Fred's also cheating off of Matthias because they know that he can't shoot.
And that's good defensive awareness by
Yep.
by Fred VanVleet. And also, if for everyone out there who's saying why are the Sixers not playing one of their best defenders, this is why. So this is just egregious defense. And if you're Fred VanVleet, opening up to the middle and allowing him a straight path when you have no defender, if anything, he should have been funneling him away from the middle because at the very least you have OG Anunoby on that side, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously at that point you'd be forcing OG to give up a Danny Green three, but this is just, this is not a bad knee. This is no effort. This is not
Lazy
even,
defense. Yeah.
it's lazy defense. It's trying to conserve yourself, and again, no communication either. Like if you communicate this, like look at his body language right now. Fred VanVleet, after he gets scored on, he's like, where's my help, right?
Yeah, bro. Like, how about you just stay in front of him?
You go to Land of Basketball and you look at the actual history of James Harden versus Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., you're going to find that he has very, very good success against these two defenders because they just don't offer him the type of length that can bother him. James Harden's actually pretty long. He's a 6'5" guy. He's got a pretty decent sized wingspan. He's got a pretty high release, and he's a really good player at creating space. So you need to have those extra inches to bother him. I think honestly, it's not a terrible defensive play. I mean, he obviously he made a contested shot, but you take him out and you add Thad Young or Scottie Barnes or OG Anunoby to that, it's probably just 5% more difficult. We've got Matador defense again by VanVleet, but this time, instead of allowing him to go middle, he forces him towards Scottie Barnes, which is the right move, right?
Which is called
So,
ice. Yeah, so they're trying to take him out right from the middle. And yeah, so they force him to Scotty Barnes, and then he
and
has good
then,
timing on the ball, and yeah, that's good defense, man. And that's good recovery defense because the initial defense, again, I'm not the biggest fan of
terrible.
this, and I get it because they're trying to compensate right for his bad knee and his just lack of size and lateral quickness, but
Right.
this isn't my favorite type of defense, and I know if the Raptors had a choice, they would have all of their 6'8" guys out there, and that's what they're doing right now. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, that's good fucking defense, bro. Oh shit, that's
I
elite.
told you. I told you. He's gonna be like all defense soon enough. I'm telling you, this guy is
Okay,
really good. If he can fix his
okay.
IQ, like his physical tools defensively are incredible. This is great timing, great discipline. He's giving him exactly the right amount of space that he can't just launch an uncontested shot or blow past him.
And the way
And
he and the way his hips turn, just look at that. That's a 6'9" dude doing this.
that's the most important thing I think about Precious
Wow.
Achiuwa. I think Thad Young said incorrectly that Precious Achiuwa is the best athlete on the Raptors, and athleticism has a lot to do with balance and coordination. Precious Achiuwa's balance and coordination is like next level, and you
Yeah.
see it there. How he's able to like look at the footwork on this
He
defense.
got bumped and he still managed to stay in the play.
This is like
And James
hallmark.
Harden's a fucking bull. Like he's just one of the strongest players in the game. The what the fuck was that, Siakam? Okay, so we're laughing here watching Siakam play his best defense here. Yuck yuck. Shaq and the fool. And obviously that puts Scotty in a tough situation, right? Like you're like, what? He's like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? I already got a bull coming at me.
Yeah, so I
Bad
mean, look,
defense here.
I mean, I don't think Siakam gets enough like
it's
discredit
like
or
it's like
flack.
slow mo on top of slow mo.
Yeah, so Siakam does this a lot, okay? Like, and people don't realize that like he's late to contest, he's late, like he's been doing it all year, to be honest. He got a lot better at it, but
Hmm.
when he came back from his injury, I think the Raptors were like a top 10 defense when he was out with Scottie playing OG. And when he came back, they tanked to like worst in the league just by adding him. He was that bad when he came back. And he and Nurse had a really deep conversation about how he needs to be better defensively. But you still see it in spurts. Lazy habits catch up with you. And he
Hmm.
has some really lazy habits on defense sometimes.
So here we see just a complete breakdown by the Raptors, down by 12 with 3:52 remaining in the third. This is a chance for them to get back to the game, and these are momentum killers because Scotty Barnes is doing a good job of playing defense. James Harden gets away with a little push off there. Scotty goes backwards. Siakam contests, which is good. Up to this point is good defense. Then this is just unacceptable. If you're Precious, if you're Siakam, you cannot allow the guy to grab his rebound again
Okay,
and then again.
so let's talk about box out assignments
Okay.
here. Siakam is notoriously bad for not boxing out his man. Okay, and
Mhm.
this is also on Scottie Barnes for letting himself get out of this play and not recovering back in time. Let's see, like where does Scottie go? There. Why is he underneath the basket? He needs to get back into
That's
the play.
but
He's
I mean,
not
but that's
helping.
because he got pushed right here though.
Okay, but like watch it. He got pushed, but he's done now. He still
That's
took
true.
an
Yeah.
extra 2 seconds to get back into play. And if he gets back into this play, he probably gets a block. So, like, now he tries to get back into the play to recover out to the vice which is the right move, right? You don't want to gang up on James Harden
So
in the
yeah,
corner, but
so
obviously,
like that's one component. Then the second component is
what's
what
Fred
the hell
VanVleet
is
doing?
Fred doing? Like, bro, you're not gonna block the shot. Stay home on Maxi, who is fucking torturing your guys. Like this is just ridiculous defense, bro. And he knows it too.
Yeah.
This is
And
just
there you go.
terrible.
So again, for people to say like it's all the knee, it's all, his
No.
hip or whatever, it's not, because this is not like knee or hip. This is awareness. This is
Yep.
just being in the wrong place,
My
and there's
God.
no
This is
reason for
24-hour
him to
fitness
be there.
basketball. This is classic vintage
Okay.
Harden.
Okay, so I will say this. I think the Raptors need to trust that OG Anunoby. By the way,
Hmm.
statistics are important here. Okay, statistically, James Harden against OG Anunoby, the Sixers are scoring 70 points per 100 possessions. It is abysmal how ineffective he has been scoring against OG Anunoby. So if I'm Pascal Siakam here, instead of offering help, I understand who is the defender on him right now. Trust him and stay home on Tobias Harris.
Okay, so here we see once again James Harden's brilliance. Yak him, yak him, yak him, right? Crisscross, crisscross. And, pressures is the right thing, trying to contest. And again, easier said than done. When you're facing this guy, it's really hard to guard him because he's going to get you off balance. So, my thing is, why the hell is Boucher here giving this guy who was torturing them that much space? And the same could be said here. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah,
this is just
people who are wondering how Tyrese Maxey got 38 points in this game, this is how Tyrese Maxey got 38 points in this game, right? And it's like, and here's the thing, this is the most underrated part of this. Once again, you see a great shot, right? This is a wide open shot for Tyrese Maxey, great shot, right? But
Mhm.
you also see another great option where they could have very easily passed to Joel Embiid, who has Fred VanVleet guarding him.
And this is game 2 already. We see a little switch here. Nice little screen by Danny Green to get James on Trent Jr. Obviously, he sees Embiid on pressures, and then Embiid's like, okay, go to work, young man. He goes to work. It's an easy crisscross going left. Nice hesitation there. And again, the defense is compromised when, again, Trent's not a terrible defender, but again, to me, for my liking, he's not a good defender. He's not a bad defender. He's average. And this is what happens when you have average defenders that are undersized.
So right now he sheds him, right? Look at right there, like right at that shot. What does he have? He
He
has
has he has a bunch
Harris
of
open for
options.
three. He has Harris open for three, and
He has
who
Maxi
has
open for
beat.
3
He has Maxi open for three, Harris open for three, and Danny Green, who has
for a dump
position on
off.
Fred VanVleet for a dump
Hmm.
off. And granted, like I think that would be the worst option here because it's two
Yep.
points instead of 3 points, and it's probably the most contestable. But
Hmm.
he makes the right play. I think I'm just trying to point out that in the first two games, how many times the Sixers burned the Raptors with an option when they had two other great options that they could have burned them with even more.
Here we see a down screen from Tyrese Maxey to James Harden. A nice little dribble handoff there from Embiid. So great action here. It's just a perfect offensive set, man. It's just
It's
from
great.
top to bottom. Just from
And it's
top to
just,
bottom. Like there's nothing you can do here. Like the switching, the screening. Like this is good basketball.
I agree.
So at this moment, there is no more Fred VanVleet, and you pretty much have the Raptors version of Game 5. And we have Precious Achiuwa going up against James Harden here. Great hip rotation, great recovery, great rotation by Siakam, and you get that. Like that is Raptors basketball at its finest.
Is it just me, or does it feel like there are more white shirts on the court right now? Does it just feel bigger? It feels
This feels
congested.
fucking huge. They shrunk the floor.
And as you're seeing here, OG Anunoby guarding James Harden, and there is no help. Like you're seeing, like everyone is sort of staying a little bit closer to their men, and you're just seeing the floor has sort of shrunk for the Sixers. You're seeing the length
Hmm.
and all of those advantages you're seeing in game one and game two, where, like right now, if you're watching this, just imagine that instead of Chris Boucher out there, you had a Fred VanVleet or you had a Gary Trent. It's a completely different dynamic in terms of exploiting mismatches.
God, he's so confident. Just look at this. He's like, what? This is crazy to see.
And this is on one ankle, by the way.
Yeah. He's just like, bruh, like, I'm that dude.
I'm the rookie of the year. Who are you?
Once again,
For
I'm going to
Siakam.
give my guy Siakam some appreciation here. This is great defense, by the way. He kept his
Yep.
balance. He did not overplay this, right? He wasn't reckless. and he stayed enough to where he contests. Oh my God, this is probably his best defensive possession of the series.
Can I just point
W-
out how low the
And,
bar
and, and
is?
again, it's not about the result, it's about the process, man.
I want to point out that how low the bar has dropped for Siakam defensively, that you are literally applauding him for not jumping out of bounds on a play.
Hey, man.
Just put your hand up, and Leo is going to give you Defensive Player of the Year, Siakam.
All right, Rob. So, give me your biggest takeaway from this film session.
The Sixers have a mismatch generation machine in James Harden, right? He hunted for mismatches, and the Raptors helped him out a lot by overhelping on the collapse, right? And he was picking them apart like the supercomputer that he is, offensive genius that he is, finding shooters. One of the biggest takeaways for me from this film session is very often when the Sixers scored, there was another guy who was wide open for even perhaps an even better shot that they didn't get. And I think that that's probably the compromise of a defense that's giving up too much and taking away too little. What we saw in game 5 almost immediately when we saw that long lineup was just how much smaller the floor looked and how much smaller the gaps the Sixers could attack. I think the Raptors are just long enough now to take away some of those advantages. And with Fred out, with this long lineup in, I think a lot of the superstar creation, the superstar gravity that James Harden had is going away slowly. So kudos to Nick Nurse, kudos to the Raptors for adjusting. I agree with Sam Cassell. I think Fred VanVleet's injury is probably the worst thing that happened to the Sixers this series because it really has forced Nick Nurse's hand to do something that he's probably definitely been unwilling to do, which is bench Fred VanVleet.
There it is, y'all. If you guys enjoyed this film session, please like, share, and subscribe. That way we continue to grow this basketball channel. On behalf of the entire Raptors Nation, Sixers Nation, all of the NBA Nation, we thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.